Hey everybody, it's Chevy, Nobody Else's Auto. We're inside this old garage right now getting ready to dig out another super cool old car. You can see it right here behind me. Been in here obviously for a little while. It has definitely turned into a shelf, extra storage. You can see the dust on this thing, but it is a neat old car. 1966 Chevrolet Caprice, 4-door hardtop, factory big block car. It's got a small block in it now, but it still has the big block badges on it. We're going to show you a little bit of it here right now, exactly as we found it. And then we're going to get this thing unburied, loaded on the trailer, hauled in, and then we'll take a little bit better look at it once we get her out to the yard. Well, here she is. We can get a little bit of a look at it. She's in here pretty tight. Stuff stacked on it, around it, in it, a little bit of everywhere. That's what happens to these old cars. They turn into a shelf for the most part once they're stuck in these old garages for years. Still see the fender badges on the front of this old Caprice. But just like a lot of these old cars they turn into shelves. That's what happens to them. They're in the garage, they get used for storage, that's where they end up. So we know that happens, but it's always cool to find one in this condition exactly as I found it. So that's why we're sharing it with you now. Just a little bit of everything. Extension cords, even the insides of these cars become storage. As you can see, there's no post in this. This is a 4-door hardtop. Like I said, this is a Caprice. So it does have a few cool options on it that we'll check out once we get this thing hauled back in and see what we've all got here. Like I said, it's in here pretty tight. This is exactly how I found it. This is exactly how I bought it. So, going to be a little bit of a surprise for me as well, because obviously I couldn't even see the whole thing when I bought the car initially. So anyway, we're gonna get this thing pulled out of here, get her loaded up. We get her back out to the yard, we'll take a little bit better look at it when we can actually get all the way around it. We can kind of see down the side of it here a little bit, but she's in here pretty tight. We'll get the step stools, the paint, all this other stuff off this old Caprice, get her rolled back out in the daylight, take a little better look at it and see what we've got. Well, we've got her back to the yard. As you saw, we got it dug out of the old garage, got all the crap off of it, got the tires aired up, got it shoved out, got her hauled in. So let's take a good look at this 1966 Caprice 4-door hardtop that we just found buried in that old garage and see what we've actually got. Here she is. As we saw, still has the 396 badges on the front fender of this old 66 Caprice, but the 396 is long gone. It does have an engine sitting in it. I was told when I bought this car that it is a 66 era 327 is what I was told. It is just sitting in here. Nothing was hooked up. It was sat down in the engine compartment at some point and just kind of blocked up in there. But supposedly this is a 1966 correct era 327. We can see this still has the power brake parts here on the old Caprice. The power steering pump is still there, the original stuff. And we still see the factory air stuff over here on this side of the firewall. And obviously nothing on the front of this engine because none of this was ever hooked up or actually set up in here. Front of the old car is really pretty straight. Missing a couple of headlight bulbs and dinged a little bit on the bottom, but overall not too bad at all. Let's go over here on the left side. Once again, we see our super cool 396 badge on the front of the fender, the Caprice emblem. Take a step back and really overall the car is fairly straight. Don't even see a ton of rust in it. Obviously it's got the wrong hubcaps, 57s on this side, saw 61 cap on the other side. Inside this old Caprice, she's pretty much intact, just aged and weathered. But there is some super cool stuff in here to check out. One of the most obvious super cool options that you very, very rarely seldom see on a Chevrolet, tilt column and telescoping column. Something you definitely do not see very often on a Chevrolet, a tilt tele column in this 66 Caprice. Really cool option. Another interesting option in this old Caprice is the Comfortron A, the automatic temp control that this 66 was also equipped with. Comfortron on the controls. We still see the little sensor up on the dash. Factory AM radio, and everything else is pretty much standard in this old Caprice. Standard dash, just regular clock and fuel gauge and speedometer, nothing exciting as far as gauges or anything. Obviously we see the wood grain trim dash around the switches and the factory AC vents, as well as the extra trim on the door panels. However, this is manual windows as well. So, but like I said, inside just old, aged, and weathered. But it is there, it is intact, and it's not in terrible shape by any means. Work our way around the back of this Caprice. We see a little dent back here in the quarter, but you know, not a ton of rust in this thing really at all. Still got a lot of dirt and dust on it. Some of it blew off while we were getting it brought out here. Missing that molding is inside the car. I threw it inside because it was loose. Around the back, trunk lid has some rust in it. Does still have the Caprice only tail lights in it, as well as the Caprice by Chevrolet on the trunk lid. Step back over here, look at the passenger side of the car, kind of the same thing. This quarter does have a little bit of rust and a little bit of damage, but it isn't terrible considering this car's over 50 years old. Got the cool Caprice emblem on the C-pillars. And like we said, this is a four-door hardtop, so it is a pillarless sedan. There's no post here, so these are a really clean looking car when you're cruising around with the windows down. In here we see more of the wood grain trim as well as the Caprice on the glove box door. And come up around the front over here, take a step back. See, the hood has been changed at some point, but this thing would have been really slick. It's kind of a cream or a tan with just a clean red pinstripe down the side, 396 badges on the fenders. In its day, this was a pretty cool old Caprice with some super rare options, and even originally had a big block in it. So pretty cool old car. Definitely excited to add this one to inventory. A 62 Impala here hiding behind it. We didn't even take a look at that. So stay tuned. We'll have a video coming on that 62 here shortly. But there she is, the 1966 Caprice. Well, there she is. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked the whole thing of finding it in the garage, unburying it, digging everything out, airing up the tires, shoving around the daylight for the first time in years, and getting her hauled back in and getting a better look at it. But it's a cool old car. I'm excited to add it to inventory. And if you're interested in this Caprice or anything off of it, or any of the other 2,000 or close to 2,000 cars and trucks we've got here on the ground at Nobody Else's Auto, just give me a call, 620-786-4428. That number's in the description. Having a short conversation about your project, year, make, model, body style, the parts you need, all that stuff is critical to know if I may have something here that can help you out. So just give me a shout. Be more than happy to have that conversation. You like these old cars, you like these old trucks, you like memorabilia, gas and oil, signs, oil cans, be sure to check out the channel, Nobody's Show. That's all we do on here. Cool old car stuff, because that's really about all I know, and that's really about the only thing I can talk about. So, but we have a lot of fun on here. Be sure to click that subscribe button and definitely click that notification button. We do a lot of cool live stuff as well. You don't want to miss it. As always, thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned. Tons more cool inventory coming up. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you soon on the next video.